Happy Friday.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Next Jeff Show, Outliers in Exile, where all the cool people hang out. What's up? Today we're just doing open panel. I, well, in news, the Supreme Court made a ruling on the TikTok ban, so it's supposed to go into effect Sunday. No one's really sure what's going to happen because the company could play it several ways, but they think at the very minimum it's going to just be removed from the app stores, Google Play, Apple, the Apple Store, etc. So if you currently have a copy, you may still be able to keep using it. I don't know about the browser version. Is it just going to get blocked? But there are not going to be any updates and stuff unless it gets sold to an American company, in which case they'll have to rebuild the algorithm to be strictly American, etc. So that's the big news of the day is the TikTok ban. The Supreme Court said yes, it's valid, it's legal. The law that Congress passed is constitutional. And the reasoning behind it was national security. It was risk management actually. So Congress decided that they don't want to take the risk, the national security risk of having China in control of a platform like TikTok. So they either sell it to an American company or they get rid of it in the United States. So that's the nuts and bolts of that. Hey, Beak. Happy Friday. Good to see you, as always. In personal news, I went to the Toastmasters last night again, and I'm still hyped on them. I'm excited to find them. They're all the type of people that I did not think existed up here in this part of the country. So it's like a little oasis of people with personality and intelligence and like human intelligence, not robot machine type intelligence. Um, I like their energy, and I'm happy I went. And ta-da, 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 I got another ribbon. That's two in a row. Best. They get it's these little impromptu speeches. You call it, and they're like 1 to 2 minute speeches on a topic, and sometimes they ask you a random question. Last night was an interesting question. I did my best to answer it, but I think it might be a good one to try to answer on here as well. What's like the big revelation that you've had about yourself over the past year? What was the one big thing that you learned about yourself? Thanks. I'm I maybe I speak better than I realize because um, I've gotten so much negative feedback about my voice. I was in speech therapy for an articulation disorder. I have people constantly pointing out my communication difficulties. When the ex and I broke up, and I was moving out of his house, that's who I moved to Seattle for. So I lived with him for 2 months, and we broke up. I went my own way, and as we were wrapping things up and partying and tying up loose ends, he made the comment. He said, "I'll be shocked if you don't have the same communication difficulties when you leave here that you had with me." So there's this whole theme about me and my ability to verbally communicate to people that I've always kind of struggled with or had challenges with. So but I've also won ribbons. I've won public speaking awards. Um, Growing up, I was in speech. We had speech contest. I won some of the categories. So it's I get very mixed feedback. So it's so hard for me to be objective about my speaking abilities. I have the YouTube channel, and I think I just let that speak for itself. So anyway, the question was what you have learned about yourself. And I mean, I'll be 55 this year. I'm at an age where I don't know how much new there is left to learn that's shocking and surprising. If I learn anything at all, it's going to be just clarifying latent knowledge that I was probably kind of already aware of or already had intuitions about. So I'm not expecting any big major revelations. But I think what the last year did was to stabilize the knowledge or the sense of self that I do have. I pretty much feel like I know who I am now. If I had any doubts before, I think it's the doubts and insecurities that were removed or diminished. So I don't have any new major knowledge about myself that I acquired, but I have a stronger sense of myself and my limitations, what I can expect for myself, what my strengths are. So I've kind of stabilized into a steady self knowledge that allows me to kind of stay in my flow and operate from within that knowledge of who I pretty much think I am. Because I don't know that we ever know ourselves. I've said that before on here many times. I don't think you ever fully know another person, and I don't think you ever fully know yourself. You approximate. You gain if total knowledge is 100%, you gain a certain percentage of that knowledge of people close to you and of yourself. But I don't think you ever fully get 100% on either one. So you're always potentially able to discover new things about yourself. But as far as what I learned about myself last year, not really. I learned that I can do a YouTube channel. I learned that I can set goals for myself that I don't really have a good sense of my capacity for and still meet those goals to some degree of success. So I guess I don't know my own ability. Maybe the most important thing that I've learned about myself in the last year is all of the things that I don't yet know about myself. Hey, Bex, nonsense people are simple, like people like yourself. Nonsense people are simple, are nonsense! Exclamation. People are simple. Are you saying like horsepucky, poppycock? That's not true. People are very simple. You know, maybe simple minds find people simple. I, there's an element of unpredictability to them. Each person has their own individual pattern, and it's probabilistic. That doesn't mean they're always gonna function within that pattern very rigidly. Hey, Helena. So I always find something to be surprised about. But at the same time, once I learn people's patterns and group patterns, it does kind of. I wouldn't say it's simple. I would say people are. What's the phrase? They're complicated but not complex. You mean the U.S. is the 1%? Because I'm hardly the 1% within the U.S. I am at the. I'm at the threshold of precarity. Hopefully, I get some kind of job soon that stabilizes me. Speaking of, I did something else pretty interesting this morning. Hey, Mike, I applied for a job with the largest employer, or one of them, in the area. You could probably all guess who that is. No, it's not Microsoft. I would never work for Microsoft. It is Amazon.com. I was looking through the job boards and I noticed an Amazon job, and that set the light bulb off in my head that we have an Amazon warehouse in my town, and it's the largest employer or one of them in the neighborhood. Why didn't I even think of Amazon? So I did their application process. I'm really this is my interest in all of this, besides finding a job, is the different companies and their application process. Do they have an HR department? Do they not? Is the HR department technocratic? Has it outsourced to third party algorithm software for filtering resumes, or does it still do like human evaluation and human to human hiring? Um, the ones that don't have an HR department, do they use staffing agencies? Do their own in-house hiring, etc.? OTW, hello there. Happy Friday. And so Amazon being huge, this is what I'm finding. The really big companies, the fast food restaurants, the retailers, the grocery stores, the big box stores, places like Amazon, their hiring process is actually pretty streamlined and efficient. They usually use an AI interface that kind of channels you to the right job or filters you pretty quickly at whether you're going to be a good candidate or not. Amazon had me fill out a few contact details about myself and upload a resume. Boom, that was it. And then they had me take an assessment, an online assessment. Now, I've had other jobs I've applied to that were larger retailers that had me do assessments as well. Um, but this was a very unique assessment. I had never done anything like it before. And it was in three parts. And the first part, they actually simulate an Amazon inbox and they show you different emails that you might receive as part of your job from your supervisors. And it's very, oh my God, it's technocratic. It's talk about the machine. It was a glimpse into the corporate mindset. And it was emails of this is what we need. Here's some data that we received from different vendors. Analyze the vendors and rank them in. You had to rank them in the order of usefulness or productivity. Like which vendor should we use? Rank these 4 or 5 vendors according to these characteristics, and here's the data on the characteristics. These are the ones that ship their product on time. These are the ones that have higher customer service complaints. These are the ones that have lower customer service issues. This is what Amazon prioritizes. So, with all of this knowledge, how would you rank the following vendors? I don't know how I did. I did my best at it. It's analyzing metrics and then giving your feedback on the different vendors by how you rank them. And then you had a second set that was related to like interpersonal issues with coordinating with the team and your coworkers. And you had it was very like your whole workday is divided into hours. You have an 8-hour workday, and you have this many hours you can allot to this work function. You have this amount of hours you can allot to answering emails. You have like this, like zero point 0.5 hours to attend a team meeting, etc. So it broke down your workday by hours, and it gave you problems like, hey kitty, hey ninja, kitty bonks. Um, so and so is out sick today, and we need you to help with some of the projects that he was working on. His project takes like 2.5 hours. Rank how much hours you can give to his project and what work function you could do. So that's when I talk about machine thinking. This is this is the way they think at the Amazon warehouse. Um, you pretty much like you have to turn your brain into a machine the minute you walk on the floor, I guess, and you have to operate in that mode all day. It's very specific directives you're expected to analyze and execute, kind of like a computer does with programs. And then so I did that part. And again, I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer. I just did the best I could with the information I had. And the third part was my favorite part. You actually had to listen to conversations with different managers of different departments, and the scenario was that you were a program manager and they wanted your feedback on an issue they were having, and it was an issue with a process, and the process was very complex, and the employees were frustrated with it, and they were trying to streamline it and figure out how to reduce the employee frustration. And so you actually got to listen to simulated conversations as though you were talking to a manager, and they verbally talked to you. And then you had to record an answer back verbally with your headset. So like the manager was explaining the problem and his solutions, and you had to summarize all the stuff he told you and kind of give your feedback on the next action steps to be taken. And then he had you meet with two other managers. So you had to go to the first manager and talk to her, and she gave you her opinion on the problem, and you had to summarize it and then meet with the second manager and do the same thing. And then you had to go back to the original manager and you had to give him all of the information that you got from these other two managers and their opinion on how to solve the problem and kind of tie it all together and communicate all that to him about this process. And I thought I would hate it because it was very corporate. They use that corporate language like deliverables and execute on this process and metrics and all that stuff. But because it was the most human part of the exam, it was like actually listening to another human and responding as a human. I actually liked it. I liked listen. I love problem solving. So what they did was they brought me problems, and I had to listen. I had to summarize and organize all of the feedback, and then I had to communicate that in a way that gave my opinion on how to solve the problem. And I don't know how well I did on that either. But and you could record your I think you could record yourself up to 3 times. You got 3 tries at it, but I pretended like it was a real situation where there's no do-overs, and I just gave my first answer every time. I didn't try to redo it. I didn't try to re-record it or anything. I pretended like I was in the workplace. They're coming to me with these problems, and here's my opinion on the problem. So if you apply to Amazon, that's kind of what you can expect from their online assessment. And the most interesting part about it was like the little window it gave me into I after taking that assessment, I kind of understand why the people are the way they are up here. Like why they're so corporate and bureaucratic and robotic, even about their social lives, their personal lives, interacting with them at the grocery store, on the street. They are in this very machine-like mode. They try to present a generic personality. They try to communicate in a language that's very specific but doesn't convey a lot of emotional tone or emotional information as though it's two computers interfacing and talking to each other. Um, I don't know how successful I would be in that environment. It was a customer service position. So it was like um, interfacing with customers, like customers that had problems with their orders, and you were calling and trying to figure out what the problem was and how to help the customer. So that the customers is not going to be calling me talking like a robot, but the people I have to communicate all that to will be. And so I'm kind of like the interface between the human and the machine. So we'll see if they were impressed with my answers or not, and whether I get a call for an interview. So that was my day and my evening. Today, carrying on with the David Lynch theme in celebration of David Lynch, rest in peace. We He passed on yesterday. He left up out of here, as they say in New Orleans. I wonder if they're going to do a second line for him. What would a David Lynch second line look like? That would be so interesting, like a surreal, dreamlike second line using elements from his movies. Anyway, I think today, later on in Discord, I'm going to watch The Straight Story, which is the movie he did for Disney. And it's actually based on a true story. I didn't realize it was a true story. It's rated G. It's one of the most heartwarming family films about America, just the American spirit. Like you're going to come away from that movie just feeling really good about ordinary Americans. It's this guy in the Midwest. It's played by Richard Farnsworth. I called him Matthew Farnsworth yesterday because he played Matthew Cuthbert in the original Anne of Green Gables, but it's actually Richard Farnsworth. And it's based on a true story about this old man named Alvin Straight, who his brother was sick and lived 2 states away, and he didn't have a way to get there, so he hopped on his riding lawnmower and he took off across the Midwest to go visit his brother. And the movie actually follows his exact route, and it they filmed it chronologically. They like started at his first destination and they filmed the movie along the way and ended with his final destination at his brother. And Richard Farnsworth, the actor, was actually terminally ill with prostate cancer while they were filming. And he was pretty far advanced. It had gotten into his bones. And he's acting the role of this guy as he himself is dying of cancer. And everything is legit in the movie. Like his walking, he walks like a really old man in the movie, and that's all real because he was walking that way in real life. And Sissy Spacek plays his daughter, and she's just fantastic. She's like developmentally, she has some kind of developmental delay, and she really plays the character very well. It's one of my favorite Sissy Spacek roles, who's already one of the finest actors. Beverly, welcome. It's so great. Oh, it's so great to see you. Beverly is my one of my beloved mentors. She's the one that trained me on peer support. Um, she's a very close friend to this day, and I, my day lights up every time I see her. So it's great to see you. So yeah, we'll be watching the Straight Story in Discord later, and then I think this weekend I will try to do Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, which were his last two movies, if you don't count Twin Peaks: The Return, which was the HBO or Showtime series. Um, they're longer. Mulholland Drive is 2.5 hours long. It was actually he was pitching another television series, and so part of it is filmed as the pilot to the series, but they opted not to pick up the series, so then he just continued developing it into a feature film. So for that reason, it, it's it's kind of long, but it's worth it. Yeah, I guess you saw the news. Um, we are we are without David Lynch now, so it's up to us to carry on in his spirit. So I'm going to do a David Lynch Film Fest this weekend in our Discord, and we're going to do Mulholland Drive tomorrow, which is excellent, excellent. It's one of my favorite mystery movies, and then Inland Empire on Sunday, which is a 3-hour movie, and it centers around Laura Dern's character, Nikki somebody, I think her name is. She's an actress starring in a movie. So it's a movie about making a movie, and it gets very surreal, and I think I'll just leave it at that. So they're all three movies are very worth the investment. So if you can give yourself over to a movie for a couple of hours or 3 hours, I think you'll find the experience very rewarding. So that's my life. We're still doing open panel. If anybody wants to come up, chat about anything, what's going on in your life, mental health, politics. Let's see, man of the hour waits to seize his power. Are you talking about Trump and the inauguration? Which is Monday, by the way, and it's also MLK Day. So we're going to do an all-day stream for MLK Day on Monday, and we might peek in on the Trump. Is it inauguration? Is that what it is? I did see where they're moving it indoors this year because of the weather, so it will be an indoor inauguration. And then after that, we start our new term under President Donald J. Trump again. So we'll see what happens there. Nick Bowe. Who's Nick Bowe? There's another movie called Mulholland Falls, which came out in the 90s, I believe, and sometimes people get the two mixed up. Mulholland Drive is with Naomi Watts, Laura Daring, Justin Trudeau. It's kind of like a Hitchcock style mystery. It's this actress. A lot of David Lynch's later works were very meta because he kind of wove in his experiences of making movies in Hollywood into the movies themselves. So a lot of it is kind of commentary on the craft of movie making itself. At least Mulholland Drive and Inland Empire, I would say, certainly are. And it's about an actress who goes to Hollywood to try to make it big in a movie. I'm sorry, no, no, no. Thank you, not lost. Not Justin Trudeau. Justin Theroux. Um, you know, here, I'll show you a picture of him. You've seen him in many movies. He's this nerdy guy with glasses, kind of looks like Elvis Costello. This guy. So when I said Justin Trudeau, I'm talking about Justin Theroux, Theroux, who is quite a bit more handsome than Justin Trudeau. And did you like the 1984 Dune, the Alan Smithy film that he disowned and took his name off of and said, "I'm not taking credit for that piece of crap"? Actually, I tried to watch it as a kid, but it was too creepy and I didn't understand a lot of it. And I'm like, this is not a movie for teenage Jeff. Although somehow Blue Velvet was just a few years later. But I tried to watch. Yes, I talked about that yesterday, and we're talking about it. We're talking about it today, right now, in fact. And I'm gonna do a David Lynch marathon or film fest this weekend in the Discord. We're gonna do Straight Story tonight, Mulholland Drive tomorrow, and Inland Empire on Sunday. But I tried to watch the new Dune, and the little bit I've seen of the 1984 Dune, I think I enjoyed that one better. It was more. That's more my tradition of sci-fi, which was set by Star Wars, of course, the first one, The New Hope, Star Wars 4. But the new Dune, I found it very formulaic. I found that it was beautiful scenery, but 2001: A Space Odyssey gives me that, and I think that's still my favorite sci-fi movie because it gives me the visuals, which cinema is a visual art, so it exploits the visual element of cinema. And a lot of sci-fi, including Star Wars, which I still also love very much, is just like romance in space, the hero's journey in space, like fantasy romance, but in a space setting. And 2001, I think, gives you actual science fiction. And Dune seemed the characters. My one complaint about sci-fi movies is you can't really develop the characters in the way that you can in a drama, like a real world drama, because the emphasis competes with the science fiction technology, imagery, etc. Oh yeah, I forgot that Sting was in that. And I didn't know that the soundtrack was done by Toto and Brian Eno of all people. But so you kind of have to make the characters a little two-dimensional and formal. And like one of my big complaints about Star Trek, the original one at least, is how formal the characters talk. Like they're living on this ship with each other for all those years, and they still talk there's just so much distance between the characters. None of them seem humanized. None of them seem like how people would actually talk to each other that were living in this closed environment as long as they were. It was they were too stiff and formal. And I remember watching it as a kid and thinking, nobody talks like this in real life. Why are the characters talking like this? Nobody talks like this in real life. And that was kind of my I only watched about 20 minutes of it, the new Dune. Like even the mom when she was talking to her son at the dinner table, at the breakfast table, she was talking to him in this real stiff, formal way that didn't have psychological credibility for me, and it took me completely out of the movie. So I was left to look at the pretty scenery, but I couldn't. It didn't give me a window into any of the characters because of that kind of wooden acting style that a lot of sci-fi movies resort to in order, I think, to not compete with the visual and science fiction elements themselves. Oh wow. Did well, Amazon certainly didn't pay attention to that, nor did any of these HR departments that are like, I'm telling you, if you want a job in today's world, you better figure out how to make your mind at least somewhat into the likeness of a machine or get some software that knows how to do it for you. Mr. B is Mr. B is the honey. Mr. B, which Spice Girl would you be? I don't even know if I know all this. I don't think I could recognize one Spice Girl song. Let me see if I can name the girls. Scary Spice, Sporty Spice. Don't ask me how I know this. Maybe from watching RuPaul. Um, okay, I'm stuck at two. Let's see. Was there a glam spice, honey spice? Scary, sporty, posh spice. I'm missing one or two. Uh, Sporty, scary, posh. Sugar, was it sugar spice? I don't know. I don't know this. I would be a very bad bar trivia partner. Maybe at a gay bar that was asking this question. I don't think I make a good gay in general. So I'm happy that I even got three. Why don't we check? Or anyone can fill in if you know the Spice Girls. Let me know the one. Ginger Spice, of course. She was somewhere in the back of my mind. Were there only four of them? Oh! No, there were five. Yeah. I probably would have got this last one if I had thought about it a little. Yes, Baby Spice. Correct. Well, I'm proud of my audience. Y'all know more than me about the Spice Girls. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I think I've pretty much emptied out my brain. Um, I went about half an hour. So, oh, you had to. Okay, well, fair, fair enough. I had to Google too. Um, all right. Well, if there's no panel today, I might wrap up early so that I can go get ready for our David Lynch Film Festival. Saffron spice. What spice would I be? I mean, I want to take the easy way out and say something like Satan spice. I'd be sassy spice. How about that? I think that's a good one for me. Sassy spice. Or dare I say Cajun spice. So yeah, there be my spice. Let's see. On an artistic note, I didn't. I well, I've never actually seen. I think I saw it when it first came out. It's kind of like a crime movie, a noir. Or Southern Spice that works. Um, she was excellent in Requiem for a Dream, but I did not know she was in Mulholland Falls because I wasn't paying attention to her back then. She wasn't on my radar. I think who was it? Is it John Turturro? Who's in Mulholland Falls? But if you like racks, Mulholland Drive has plenty of them too. Nick Nolte, Jennifer Connelly, Chaz Palminteri, Michael Madsen, Chris Penn, Melanie Griffith, Andrew McCarthy, Treat Williams, and John Malkovich. And Bruce Dern. Wow, if that's not star-studded. Yeah, it's a set of detectives in the 50s. Back to making French fries. You think so? Because when did McDonald's stop using beef tallow? Let me look it up. Because I'm telling you, those fries, whatever they're doing with them now, taste exactly like I remember them from my childhood. And I'd be surprised if they can improve on them. If there's a better fry than the current McDonald's fries, my brain cannot imagine it. I can't wait to experience it. What could be better than those fries? It changed the recipe in the 1990s, it said. So I probably haven't eaten it since it changed, other than you. If you have Mike, if you haven't seen Jennifer Requiem for a Dream, and you're into Jennifer Connelly, that's the one to watch. She'll give you everything and more. Welcome, Apocalypse. Well, I hope we can make your day a little bit worth waking up for. Um, how were your dreams? Were they at least worth sleeping for? Because, like, our day we're kind of a little bit in control of, but our dreams we're not in control of at all. Like, we're at the mercy of. So if your dreams are not, like, is your brain going to give you a positive sleep experience or a negative one? You never know. You just whatever it decides to give you that night. Seed oils like what? Is canola a seed oil or soybean oil? What is Crisco? Is that beef tallow? That's what they used to use growing up because I remember we had was it a fry daddy or a fry mama or a fry baby? I remember they had the whole family depending on what size. And she would put the plop of Crisco in the thing and you'd have to wait for it to heat up and you could watch it melt and turn into oil. And then sometimes I think she would use the bottled oil. Oh, have a good day, Beverly. I will see you on Sunday for our thing. Great to see you. Have a good weekend. And if you want to come and watch David Lynch movies with us, let me know. Let's see. If you're too honest. Oh no. As long as my only standards for speech here, other than if you're here to troll or attack people, which pretty much doesn't happen a lot anymore, is YouTube censorship. And I honestly don't know what the exact toss guidelines are. I'm pretty sure I squirt them. I skirt them quite frequently, but I haven't seemed to have had much issue lately. Because YouTube will sometimes self-filter the contents that cross their lines. So feel free to talk. It's probably not going to bother me or cross any kind of lines with me. Hey, Luna. Let's see, canola. It's toxic. Oh, wow. Why do they use it then if it's so toxic? Is it cheap? The Land of Rape and Honey in Canada. That's what who Ministry named one of their early albums after, because it was on a I don't know, they had some souvenir from Canada. That's their slogan. And the rape and the title is Rapeseed. It's the land of canola and honey. Canadian, yeah. See, it's the rapeseed plant, right? Oh, I know all about family being the devil and just devils in general. Um, my my advice for that would be the advice I'd give for anybody in a dysfunctional situation is try to filter the devils out of your life as much as you can. If you're in a dysfunctional family, that doesn't mean you have to give them your time or spend your time with them. Same for friends, relationships, people, coworkers. If there's two types of dysfunctional relationships, there's the type that are voluntary that you're in control of and you can end and limit your exposure to, and there's the kind that you're kind of forced into by circumstance. Either you live together and you have kids together, or you're in a coworker situation and you can't just leave your job. So in either situation, if you can just get out of that situation completely in the voluntary type, that's always best. But if you can't, just limit your interaction and limit the time that you limit your exposure to them. Filter out the unhealthy and try to get some healthy relationships in to counterbalance. Yeah, me too. And I've never regretted. I've never sat there and said, "Oh, should I have walked away from that toxic person?" Sometimes it's hard because I like, especially if there's part of you that is drawn to those type of people in the first place. You have to fight that part of yourself to do it. St- Uh, you think it'll be a few whole days? I know. I That's where boundaries come in for me. Once I identify the problem coworkers, the ones for me it's the coworkers that I think are going to most jeopardize what I'm there to do in a workplace. And when I identify who they are, I very much limit my contact with them. You can have short, polite little civil chats in the hallway or the break room, preferably areas where there's other employees around, so it's not just the two of you. But the more alone time you spend with them, that's a wider target for the dysfunction to have to take root in. 69%, you broken it down that specifically. Um, for me, it's mixed. I think being an extrovert and a people person helps because my nervous system is just excited to be around people in general. I don't even care who they are. If I'm on the bus, if I'm like the only person on the bus and one other human gets on the bus, I'm going to be excited that another human just got on the bus. I don't care who it is, just that it's another human is going to be enough to excite me. And so I think I can always find something about people to be stimulated by, engaged with, but I'm not going to deny that people can be annoying.
What's up, Jeff? How you
What's
doing?
up?
How's it going on your end?
Oh, pretty good. It's
Good.
Friday. Let's see. You trying to get a buzz? Oh, okay. Um, what's your let me drop your channel. I can drop your channel if you want. You could check out Televised Apocalypse. He does some pretty good live streams.
I was just feeling kind of emotional. I was going through YouTube and I saw The Cure was had a October 2024 and I watched it. I haven't heard those songs in so long and it reminded me of my friend who loved them. My friend Megan, who died in 2012, like, and her friend was drunk and killed her. So it just kind of like hit me, and I haven't felt that since uh, after she died. Uh,
Oh no, how long ago was this?
that was 2012. She died, and
Oh, and it brought up those memories.
yeah, just hearing that, just hearing those songs. I haven't heard them in so long, dude. Because I listened to The Cure once in a while. They weren't like my favorite band, but I'd listen to them. And I knew how much Megan loved them, and it was just like heart wrenching, kind of.
Oh, have you heard their new album?
No, I didn't know they had a new
Oh
one.
my God, it's like one of the best albums they've ever done, and it's probably the best album of the year, if not the past few years.
Well, I'll have to hear it then,
It's
man.
called Songs of a Lost World.
The guy, what's the singer's name? I used to know his name. What the hell was his name? Robert
Robert
Smith.
Smith?
Robert Smith. He still's got that voice, man. I don't.
It
He's kept it
he still
together.
has the voice. He still has the creativity, the music. It sounds just like The Cure from 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was thinking, like as I put it on, I'm thinking, well, I don't know what to expect. I mean, he must be pretty old at this point, so is he going to sound different? No, he doesn't sound hardly different at all. It's amazing, you know. And he's still playing the guitar while he's singing this shit. Like that's pretty wild.
Hmm. And he's still touring and everything.
Yeah.
It's like a little point of stability, like Gen X stability that we could still rely on.
Uh,
So how have you been? What's going on with you?
uh, mm, doing okay. I'm supposed to get physical therapy on Monday, but it's going to be below zero on Monday. And
Ooh.
downstairs, my air conditioner is still in the window. So it's basically like my windows are all cracked. And I'm going to have to change that because I can't, I don't, nah, I ain't going to do that in below freezing, down in my first floor, fuck all that. I got to
They
get.
come to your house to do the therapy?
Yeah, they come to my house, or the person's supposed to. And this will be my first physical therapy since I got a winged scapula. I don't know if you would that know what that means. I had my left shoulder blade was basically disconnecting from my back because of atrophy. And I was downtown playing my heaviest Cajun accordion. It's made of purple heart, African purple heartwood. And man, like all of a sudden I couldn't push the bellows anymore. And I'm thinking, oh no, am I having some sort of weird MS attack? And that uh, I had to get physical therapy. It took about a year to get it back so I could play again. But
Oh.
what I do use, had this thing, this band. Well, this is good for like getting your back, your your arms and your back kind of.
Oh,
It's
it's you like pull it and it
extension band,
works
yeah,
the muscles in the back.
yeah, and it fixed it up. Like that was a long time ago. That was over a decade ago. Yeah, I'm turning blue here.
Oh yeah, your orange went off. That's good that they're able to provide that
Yeah, I mean that's
and come to your house to do
at
it.
least they that's I mean I'm not getting other help that I need, but at least I'm getting a physical therapist in here. I need that because it's not like I don't go out and do anything, so I need to get my legs a little bit back, but neurologically it's not going to happen. But I need to keep my strength, I guess.
Hmm.
Shit.
What do you have going on for the weekend?
Nothing as per usual.
Hmm.
And it's gonna get cold, man. It's gonna get
That's
below
what I saw.
zero.
They're even moving the inauguration indoors.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
You
cold
wouldn't want
here
to be
too.
out in this. It's gonna, yeah, because that's gonna be basically. It might even be colder up there. It's just, or is it down? Is DC below Maryland or above?
I
It's
think it's like right on.
yeah, it's connected to it.
Yeah, like to just to the left of it, the
We're kind of
west.
like yeah, like and it's gonna be really fucking cold. So yeah, they're gonna have to. I hear a cat outside. Oh man, it sounds like it's in pain.
And it's just cold. It's no snow, just cold, just
Yeah, what but
freezing weather.
the ice. My father's car is still snowed in, but it's basically turned to ice. It's like all iced over. Um, and then it's gonna snow again this weekend. So yeah, that's not gonna be too good. At least I can shut myself in this room. The heat never fails me in here. Downstairs is gonna be freezing.
Mm. You have everything you need upstairs.
Pretty much. I mean, if I have to go down and get some food in the cold, I don't care. You know, that's no big deal. But physical therapy, might have to do another day though, because
Because
yeah.
it's a holiday Monday, too.
Is it really?
It's MLK.
Oh, okay. So it's not really recognized like the typical, whatever Christmas, and Thanksgiving, and all that. It's not recognized like that. Like I doubt like everybody gets a day off for that, and
I
no
think that
kids.
it's a official government holiday and a bank holiday. So
Yeah, and
usually
they probably all
people,
get off.
yeah. Like
But
it's one of
people,
those days where everything shuts down, usually. And you have to wait till Tuesday to do anything.
um, so yeah, they're putting him in office Monday then.
Yeah, hopefully he makes it in.
Yeah, well, at least Harris isn't there. Oh my God, what a
I forgot all about her since she.
she's an ass clown, man. You could put paint on her, and she would totally fit the bill for a clown, inside and out.
Let me see, Mr. B just sent me the clip of. Wait, what is it? They were fighting at the funeral? Okay, let me see what this clip is. Mr. B just sent me. It's from C-SPAN, so it should
Was
be okay.
there a fight at what's his name's funeral?
Well, this gotta be the best way to end the worst week of my life.
What
You
is
know,
this?
Barack and Trump sitting next to each other.
Is
Okay.
this
Y'all
like.
wanna play games. Y'all wanna play games. Keep testing me.
This is not
Yeah,
C-SPAN.
Keep on testing me.
it's all
I need to hear what they talking about, but Doug
It's
is as
somebody
funny.
dumb as he
imitating.
is
That's
deaf.
Yeah,
Kamala. She looks
This
that's
man
different.
is as
it's
useless as
it's
Tim's
totally
tampons.
imitation.
I need to hear what's going on. You know,
I wonder if
Barack
this
got
is
bigger balls
copyright.
than
Mr. B, this is not copyrighted. Oh, it's a voiceover. Comedy
Yeah, it
voiceover.
is. It's
Who's
just like
this from? Let's see.
that's not.
SD Pol. Is that the one that imitates Kamala?
Michelle
Yeah,
for doing this to me.
that's definitely
Maybe
not
I'm just
Paris talking.
overreacting. Alright, Kamala, it's game time. Pretend to
You
read
think it's copyrighted?
and just try to focus on
Who
what they say.
knows?
Maybe Barack is telling him off. Maybe you got this all wrong.
See how
I bet he's
that's
telling him we
Melody.
can't wait to lock his ass up. You tell him,
I like her
Barack.
collar, but
There's a
Is he
cack.
giggling? So first I gotta tolerate the
she's so hard
Benghazi
to
bitch
read.
getting the Medal of Honor,
That's
and now
Bush.
this? Alright, you know what?
Wow.
Y'all are already on thin ice. If one person says one more damn thing to me, I swear to God. Oh, the power couple is here. Of course Jill sits
And
next to me.
Hillary.
Alright, Kamala.
Wow,
If
they
she
all.
says some shit to you, I just gotta be graceful, right? I gotta be a joyful warrior. Ooh, bitch, you got me fucked
Wait,
up.
what?
Jill, I will
This
Dude,
can't be
unburden
holy
you. I will
shit!
real.
unburden what has.
Oh my
Hang on.
God, dude, I didn't.
There's
I
no
didn't
way that's
that.
real.
Man, so that's Harris wrestling with Biden's
Yeah,
wife.
that's got to be AI. There's no way those
Oh my
two
God!
ladies just fought
Oh
like
my
that at the
God, dude! Like it
funeral.
looks so real. Holy shit!
I know. Let's see.
Ah,
Jill
that's funny as shit, man.
Biden.
Dude, they can fake everything now if that's fake. I mean, that looks so fucking real, man. I thought that was really the. I'd heard about there was some kind of scuffle between somebody and somebody else, but I didn't realize it was Kamala and the wife of Biden, whatever fuck her name is. Yeah. Oh shit.
No, that's got. I think that was fake, but it says that they sat next to each other, and stone-faced Joe Biden and Kamala seemingly ignore each
Jill,
other
that's
at
her
Carter
name.
funeral. So they sat next to each other and ignored each other.
Yeah, there was no big fight. Ah, that's funny as shit.
Wow, though, but that's what AI can do now.
That is so realistic,
How are
man.
we like people can't even figure out reality now. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah, dude. They
Oh
they
my
won't
god.
need actors anymore. They're just gonna fucking I bet there's gonna be a lot of unhappy
We're gonna
actors.
have like even like reality is gonna be even easier to manipulate.
I know.
Oh, no music. All right, let's see. This is what really happened. Step this way, madam. Sit next to this nice young lady. Kamala. Do you know Jill? Jill, meet
I want to
Kamala.
see them fight
Oh, maybe
again.
not. So that's what happened. They didn't look at each. Oh. They look. She looks in pain.
I know,
What
right?
happened between those two? You know I'm not the best at reading body language, but God, do you need to be for that one?
That's funny. Uh, and Biden,
Wow.
the look on Biden's face, that was kind of weird.
I thought so too, Mr. B, but I'm still waiting for it to get to that point. Step it up, AI.
Right?
Mike, did you go watch some Jennifer Connelly? We can watch Requiem for a Dream too in the Discord. That's another good one. What's her Ellen Burstyn. I don't know how she didn't get the Oscar that year for her performance as the mom. That's one of the best performances I've seen.
Oh, the mom in Requiem.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for her when I watched that. Like I had this like feeling of empathy towards her character. I don't know what it was, man. I was just feeling bad for the poor woman.
Yeah, I kind of was too, but and part of that's just her amazing acting job to
I
have you
know,
feel that
right?
sympathy.
I
But
know.
because everyone else was a junkie loser.
I know, right?
But then
Yeah.
I think like she had that's a perfect example of somebody having choice. She's a grown lady. She could choose not to do all that stuff, but somehow she gets. I think she had like some issues
Yeah, like
that
she
made her vulnerable to that.
got kind of brainwashed a little bit.
Yeah, she would watch that infomercial show and
Yeah. That's just like then and the funny thing is that does happen to people with, you know, that kind of age range and whatever.
so I guess she still had choice, but she made poor choices and she was vulnerable to having those choices influenced. But
Hmm.
like, how much does influence take away your responsibility for making the choice? I don't think it does very much. Like the accountability has to rest somewhere, and there's people that want to shift it to the influencer and not the person actually making the choice. And I think the accountability should still rest on the person making the choice. And in our legal system, I believe it more or less still does.
Yeah. I mean that's like it's a person's choice. If they fuck up, they fuck up, man. They ask for it, whether they realize it or not.
I mean, it's the same people with like the problem gamblers. They know
Yeah,
not to go gamble their whole
exactly.
mortgage
Yeah,
money away on, but
that's a
they do it anyway, even though it's influenced by all the
perfect
tricks that
analogy.
casinos use to get them in there.
Yeah.
And like the people that send all their money to the television preachers, they're
Yeah, all that
still
stupid shit.
choosing to do all of that.
Man, that used to. I mean, it's still. Oh man, all the fucking begging for tithings with my mom's internet church from fucking these people up in New York State. These real scumbags. Man,
They suck some out of her.
yeah. I mean, like they act like Mama Bonnie. They call her Mama Bonnie. It's almost like they're a cult. And fucking well, I shouldn't make judgments, but the co-pastor is a transvestite. No shit, and wants to be a transsexual, and that's fine. But why are you calling yourself a Christian church if you're gonna? It's just kind of weird. And on my dad goes along with everything. My mom goes along with the church. She's like a religious chameleon all my life. She's been like that. And he went ahead and bought a $7,000 Hammond organ for the fucking asshole who runs this church.
He bought the preacher an organ.
Yeah, and
Dang.
dude, that pissed me off to no end because I wanted to borrow money from him, and I would pay him back. Borrow money to get an instrument that had cracked because my house is so dry, and I wanted to replace it and couldn't do that because just went ahead, whatever, you know. It is what it is, man. But churches are there's a lot of churches that are real fucking scumbags. And his church is one of them. They're just like a bunch of like podunk like redneck New York, upstate New York. They're all morons, dude. I've seen all of them.
You back in the bushes? Supposedly it's supposed to be cold there.
It is cold. What's up? What's going on? It is.
Did you get
It
put
is
out
cold.
of your
It
house?
actually, yeah, it went low. It went really, really low, and then it went back up to like in the 40s because it was in the 20s. Went back to the 40s, but now they say by the beginning of next week, it's going to go to the low 20s. So it's going to be colder. I love it. I love the cold. I love it.
Oh.
I grew up. I love it. Love it.
Well, good. You could love it for both of us, and I'll stay
Yeah.
in my
I will.
warm bedroom.
Let me see this thing.
So, yeah. So what's going on?
Not much.
Sorry,
Just chatting,
I live
hanging out on a
right by
Friday.
I live right by a naval base, so that's why you hear the jets. Those are the F-18s.
Oh, that's what that is? It sounds like somebody siphoning something
Yeah, those are
through a hose.
those are the Navy's best. That's the F-18s.
Do they have any Navy men? Can we see the Navy men?
I'll send it to your DMs. But no,
Okay.
yeah, I can't disclose that. You know, remember, Jeff, I'm zero on the gaydar, zero. So, but no, yeah, this is a Navy. I'm in Virginia Beach, and Norfolk, and Portsmouth. We're Navy towns because we have Norfolk has the largest naval base in the East Coast.
Right.
Norfolk
My
Naval.
uncle was in the Navy. He was stationed there for a
Yeah.
while. He lived there. He had a house there and everything.
A lot of Navy guys and ladies as well. A lot of Navy
Virginia
people.
Beach,
And,
that's the one.
it's awesome. Yeah, we have
Yeah, that's where
Oceana
it was.
Military, which is so Oceana is a Navy air base. There's no ships, of course. It's basically all the fighter wings. It used to be the F6. It used to be the F-14s, the Tomcats, and the A6 Intruders. Now it's the F. Now it's the. Let me see if I can get this. I don't know if I can get it in the picture. Shit. It's the Raptors. You hear it? Can you hear it?
Oh my God! Hang on,
Oh,
let me
fuck
see.
it. Shit. Where is it?
Oh wow, that's like a drone.
Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Oh, this is so cool.
Look at that shit.
How often do they do that?
You see him?
Yeah, that was really cool.
It's an F-18 F.
How often
Those are
do
the.
they what do they do? Just an exercise?
It's all fucking day and night, Jeff. All fucking day and night. They just fly over the house, 2 o'clock in the morning. But
You know,
The
they
largest
do
naval base in the world is in Norfolk, Norfolk,
Norfolk,
Virginia.
Virginia. Yep.
the motherfuckers complain about carbon emissions. I mean, like that's all
I love
bullshit.
it.
If they're
I
gonna
love it.
carbon emissions,
Sure. In Tidewater,
and cow
No,
farts.
no, no. I'm not putting any laser on them, Mister. No, you do that. That's you're going to go away for a long time putting a laser at a
Yeah,
fighter
you
jet.
no do
Yeah,
that.
no, you don't do that. But they're amazing. The F-18s are amazing. And then they still have the F-35s, which are the ones that can live. They're like Harriers. And then when you go to Langley Air Force Base, Langley is in Hampton, Newport News area. They have the Raptors, the F-22 Raptors, and they have the black. What is it called? The stealth stuff. That's Air Force. That's Air Force stuff. These are Navy jets, but the Air Force has all the F-22 Raptors and stuff like that. The stealth stuff. The things that can float and then go up and then turn. Like the way they can do this stuff is amazing. But the F-18s are amazing. They really are amazing. I feel very safe here. If something was to pop off, you got a couple hundred F-18s right down the street. It's all good. You know?
Yeah, dude. But you
Yeah.
gotta listen to it all the time, though, right?
Yeah, they don't play around. And the Navy pilots are amazing. The Air Force pilots are amazing as well. But the Navy pilots, they don't play around. They're very, very good. But yeah, Norfolk Naval is the largest naval base, I think, on the whole East Coast. Like you said, Jeff. You said the world, but I thought it was the
In the
whole East
world.
Coast. Yeah.
Well, Google said the world.
Yeah.
We have
Norfolk
one
Naval
here,
is no
but I
joke.
don't know how what it ranks. But it's
Yeah.
a pretty big one here.
Well, you have
Blocks
you
from
should
my
have
house.
your base where you're at should be, Jeff. I think your base is mainly submarines, right? A lot of submarines
I don't think there's any
in
planes.
Washington.
Let me check.
I think it should be a lot of
It's like it's
submarines
next
and
to the
ships.
marina, so it's where all the people keep their yachts and their boats, and then next to that you have the
Yeah.
Navy with their ships, and we
Yeah.
have a big battleship out in the bay that just kind of hangs out
Yeah,
there.
Norfolk Naval as well. If you go on it, you go through what's called Admiral's Row. You see all the carriers. Like you see all the carriers. Dude, those things are the size of a city. The carriers are so big. Here's another F-18. They're flying over constantly. They're just flying. The F-18s are no joke, man.
It says ours has the ships that shoot down the missiles. That's mostly what they keep here. 7 guided missile destroyers.
They're that close. I mean, they're right over your house. They're so loud.
I
Yeah, that
hear
would
them.
drive me up the wall.
I love the Navy. I love it. Bring it on, man.
Listening to
God bless
that,
America, man. God bless America. God bless our military.
yeah.
Hail Satan.
Mr. D, I didn't say that. I said the F-22 is actually Air Force. That's what I said. F-22 is Air Force.
Okay.
The F-35
I'm gonna
is
go
the
pee. Y'all
Navy.
argue it out, and I'm gonna go pee. I'll be right
I'm not
back.
arguing. The F-22 is Air Force. That's why I said F-22s are on Langley. Langley's an Air Force base. The F-35 is Navy. F-35. That's it. I do know what I'm talking about. And then there's 3 versions of the stealth. There's a F-22, F-35, another F-35. So the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the Air Force have different versions of the F-22 or F-35. Yep. But yeah, the Raptor is Air Force. That's Air Force. That's Langley Air Force Base. That's why I said Langley. Langley is Air Force, not Navy. Norfolk Naval and Oceana is Navy. That's what that is. Got it. Fact check away. We'll get Liliana on the case. Oh my goodness. The house was probably a cheaper buy. No, actually it wasn't, because it wasn't the crash zone back then. When we bought my family bought a few of these townhouses. It was way back in the 80s. No, it wasn't the crash zone back then. It wasn't. But they've quadrupled in value. They have. You could buy a townhouse back in the late 80s, early 90s down here for 40, 45,000. I mean, they're worth, close to 200 now. F-35Bs can hover, soak in the 22s. They can stay stationary in the air. The Marine version, the Marine Corps version of the F-35 has an actual gun on it, Gatling gun, for ground support. The other ones are different. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. Anything else? But there's different versions of the actual plane itself to fit the ground roll or the air roll that it needs to. But the Raptor is amazing. We did the last air show that me and my son went to. The Raptors, which are Air Force F-22s, will stop. They'll go upwards. They'll stop. They'll turn. They'll move backwards. They'll climb. The plane is like, you're like, whoa, how is this possible? How they did this movement. But the F-18s are flying. They're coming in right now. The F-18s are coming. The Hornets, they call them the Hornets. There's another one.
Wow.
They're amazing.
Amazing military industrial complex technology. Do you hear them break the sound barrier? We used to go watch the jets growing up. They take us to the airport, and we could hear them break the sound barrier as they would take off.
So there is a thing where they used to do it. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to do it back in the day where they would have usually like an F-16. I think the early F-18s, but they would break the sound barrier, and you would see the cloud around the plane. It would go through the sound barrier, but they would do it offshore. They wouldn't do it like by your house because your windows would break. But they would do it, offshore. And you could see like there's like a cloud. There's like a cloud around the plane where it breaks the sound barrier. Yeah, so it can do that. It really can.
Yeah,
Untrackable knows he was previous Army. He knows about all those planes and shit. The greatest plane to ever serve in the military is the A-10 Warthog. And Untrackable knows that being Army, the A-10 Warthog has the 50 millimeter cannon on it, which comes in and it could strafe anything. And it's called Burr, and it takes out tanks and buildings and everything.
Dang. They say if we do get in another war, it's going to be more like less ground war type stuff, less traditional war, and more
Yeah,
digital and
the
cyber and drone warfare.
The future of warfare is going to be unmanned, and like you said, Jeff, cyber warfare. That's going to be unmanned warfare. But you still need to have troops on the ground to come in and clear areas for stragglers. So you're
Space
still going to need
Starship
troops.
explode? No, I did not see that, Mr. B. That was the
Yeah,
one that
Elon lost the Starlink rocket. I think it blew up.
what? Okay, I need to
Yeah,
look
it
at that.
blew up. Yeah.
We have somebody in the back trying to come up. Can you turn your camera on so I can see that you're a real person? And I need to see a face, not just a hand.
Oof.
Mm, nope, gotta see a face because we get trolls around here. So I gotta verify you're not
What's the
one of
name,
them.
Jeff?
Oh, the name is Why Art Thou? Does anybody know them?
Never heard of it.
They're showing me a can of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, the face or nothing.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take a pass on this one till I figure out
Yeah.
who they are. So anyway, the space, what is it? Starship.
The Starlink rocket. In other words, Elon was sending up another rocket. I guess it exploded, and it was like this big explosion. Starlink rocket.
Wait, Bezos is doing something too?
Yeah, they're fighting. Him and Bezos is calling Elon like evil.
The FAA requires investigation into SpaceX Starship's flight explosion.
Yeah,
Let me see if it's on if I can get a clip of it.
wild. Hey Jeff, I'll be right back. I got to take care of something, but I will be back, bro. Hold it down.
Okay.
I'll be back.
I'll hang out for a little while. All right, let's see. Associated Press, that's not copyrighted, is it? I want to see a good shot of it. All right. There weren't people on it, right? It's just equipment. Looks like fireworks. Why is it? Is that one rocket? Why are there so many trails? How many things are up there? Wow, this is. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Where's the explosion? Or is that the aftermath of it? Man, y'all grandbabies are gonna be in space. Probably. This is amazing. Look at the trails. So I didn't. Oh, the falling debris. I see. That's not even the explosion. Okay. Hang on. Let me. Wow, I'm having a hard time finding a source for the actual explosion. Is Reuters copyright free? Ah, okay. It's very visually. It it looks like really nice fireworks. Um, there's a Chinese news station that claims to have it, the Times of India, but I don't know how many of those are copyrighted. And Reuters might have something. I'm looking at it now. But yeah, if the starship exploded, people are going to want to see that. So there's got to be footage somewhere. Yeah, I don't know. I can't seem to find actual footage. I can't imagine that they didn't capture it. The chopstick capture. Let me look at that. Um, hang on. Okay, it's hey there.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. What's up with you? I was trying to find footage of this chopstick capture.
Well, I think I did see it on Reddit. It's the second one they've caught, right?
Of course, after seeing that AI video of Joe Biden and Kamala, I don't even know what's real anymore, even if I did find it. How are you? What's going on?
Oh, not much. Were you talking about them catching the rocket?
Yeah, well, Mr. B was telling me the Starship 7 exploded, but that the first stage of it, that this chopstick phase was pretty cool to look at. So I was trying to find a picture of that. I mean a video of that, but I can't. I'm I don't even know how to tell what video is real anymore. It's the internet's becoming very frustrating. I can't find information on Google anymore. I can't find videos that are not fake anymore. The age of information is becoming very noisy and corrupted. All right, let me
Yeah,
see
but
what Not Lost just sent. Ah, of course, Elon being mocked.
yeah, I see a lot of that.
Schadenfreude. Oh, Dirty, I'm good. A breath's not going to solve the, the the problem with the information sphere. So, how are you? What's been going on? Catch us up.
Just part of that southeastern winter snap, I guess you could call it.
Oh, it's cold over there too.
it it's not that it's horrible. It's just different than what we're used to around here. You know what I mean? Like one morning that I got up to go to work, it was like 17 degrees outside.
Oh, let's go.
Um, we had snow. Oh man, like It, yeah, I think it snowed last Friday, so it's been a week, and the roads have mostly melted off, but everywhere that the snow has lingered, like my front yard, my driveway, and stuff like that, because we don't really get the sun on our side of the street. It's all just uh, ice with maybe some snow underneath it. So it's like you can't even go play in it or nothing like that.
Oh, did you work today?
Yeah, today, yeah. And I'm working through the weekend. And we were supposed to have Monday off for MLK, but because we're expecting snow again on Wednesday, they're trying to push some through some things.
Oh,
So so I'm gonna get paid time and a half uh,
to
to
go in.
not take the day. Yeah, yeah. I'm okay with it because I would have been working anyway if it wasn't the holiday. I appreciate my days off, regardless of how they come. But that's good money making. And when you feel like you have a good job and you feel like you get treated right, sometimes it's in your best benefit to go the extra mile when they need you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it motivates you to do that. I'm the same way. I will. I am very loyal to employers that treat me right. I will give them the world if they're appreciating what I do and if they value me. Okay, Mr. B sent me something to watch. Some AP footage. This is Starship. Oh, look. Wow. Look at that exhaust flame. That's just nature, huh? They're not purposely making it look that aesthetic. Is that the chopsticks?
Yes, I think this is going to be where they catch it. This is I think the second time they've done it.
So what part blew up? The little part that separated?
I don't think
Oh.
that explosion was part of this. I could be wrong,
And
but
where is this Florida or California?
oh, I have no clue.
I guess we could listen to her.
p.m. Central Time from the launch pad just behind us at Starbase, Texas. Gorgeous ascent and successful stage
Texas.
separation. The booster pushed the ship off the ship disconnected during that stage separation. The booster came back for the second ever booster catch at the launch tower, which was pretty incredible to see.
It was. So the booster came back both times. They've tried it. Oh, hey, Dirty. Thank you. Thank you very much. Um, let's get you some little rock going. Thank you. Good way to start a Friday. Okay. So the upper stage was the part that separated, and is that the part that actually goes to space? This doesn't look anything like the Koyaanisqatsi movie.
Yeah, I think that was the big idea with SpaceX was that so much is lost from the original boosters from like the space shuttles and rockets and stuff like that was that they didn't have the technology then to be able to save them, so they would use them and they would just fall back and they would try to recover or maybe recycle them like piece by piece or whatever. But if you could actually land the booster, then you go through checks and balances, refuel it, and use it again. It saves so much money to reuse. You know what I mean?
That sounds like some worthy engineering. They solved a problem.
I mean, just imagine like like just the same way that they talk about like drone deliveries. You know what I mean? If you put a package on a balloon and could guide the balloon, but the only way to get the balloon down to deliver the package would be to pop the balloon, you you can't reuse the balloon. But if you have a drone that can, you know, drop the package off and then return to base for another package, save you a bunch. It might cost it costs a boatload in the initial, but the more times you are able to use it, on that scale, it really adds up.
Mr. B, why do you think that is? Is it bureaucracy, like bureaucratic inertia, and Musk can just be more agile, or is it something about the leadership at NASA itself?
It might be a bit of both as well, because it's a tale as old as time as wasteful government spending,
Right, yeah.
like
I'm kind of
$500 full of toilet paper.
yeah, I'm getting a taste of the government efficiency too with the
Yeah.
plus does it like isn't it the government can provide a lot of bureaucratic jobs for people, but then it's once they get in the jobs, it's harder to get rid of them and cut the positions and all that other stuff. So you have all these jobs sitting around for people to do, but they don't really add anything to the service.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nerds care. Yeah,
And
well,
the
good. That gives the private that gives the market a chance to resolve it. Because if somebody can come along and outcompete the bureaucracy, then they get the benefits.
and sometimes it's the efficiency as well, because the government can, I guess, create jobs and fill those positions, but they don't like to fire people um, when you don't meet quotas and stuff like that. Whereas if you outsource it, it may cost a little bit more in the initial, but a private company, they will always look to trim the fat. They're not going to let anybody just sit on a job for 20 years. You know what I mean?
Right. So it seems like private companies can do things that make more sense, and government has these other competing goals and values that limit how efficient they can be. Yeah, Ricardo, definitely take care of yourself. And I don't know how the healthcare system over there works, but hopefully there's a doctor or maybe a telehealth call or ask a nurse or something that you could check in with and just have them triage you a little bit. And then I know if it's a cold or flu or something, just rest and lots of fluids. I always take vitamin C. I don't know if that helps or if it's just subjective, but it seems to I don't know. It seems to make it a little better, a little more bearable. Let's see, the FAA became. Wait, what's the Eastern and Western Range bureaucracy? You talking about me, not laws? Why don't you come up here and make your regurgitated points, and we can compare? Yeah, that would help, if especially if it's an infection. The ear, I had an ear infection when I was like 19 or 20, and it was truly the most painful experience in my life. It was the most pain I have ever experienced in my life. I was curled up in the fetal position on the living room floor, just in pain. All I could do was scream into a pillow. It completely incapacitated me. It felt like somebody stabbing an ice pick into my ear and twisting and twisting and twisting. My body has never felt more pain than that ear infection.
Yeah.
Vitamin C can hurt. Wow, everyone. Oh, is everyone getting? What, Mr. B? That makes no sense. Are you VA? I hear horrible horror stories about the VA, and they're also woke. I have a friend right now that's suing them because they tried to penalize him for his political beliefs. They
Yeah.
said he was making the work environment unsafe.
Wow. I mean, certain things at work, I think everybody should stay away from discussing, but it's kind of hard when you sometimes spend more time around the people that you work with, and we're all humans, and there's a certain level of camaraderie that should be expected, and getting to know somebody that you're supposed to trust as a colleague. But some people take
Oh, you think he went out?
like the
Cut
complete
out.
wrong way.
I don't know. I've learned to manage my expectations around that camaraderie. I used to expect it more than I do now. And even if you can expect it, I don't know how they can enforce it. Like, I don't know how they can guarantee and ensure it.
I mean, I deal with it every day. Um, I'm probably the one of the older people that works where I work, and I can tell you, like when I was a youngster, man, I used to kiss and tell, and it's something that is frowned upon, um, even then, and it always came back around and bit me in the ass. Don't kiss and tell.
You talking
So
about with your
if you
coworkers?
get no, just in general, growing up
Oh,
in groups of friends, social environment, school, um, you say, oh, guess who I saw? Guess, like it is literally, guess who I kissed? And you think you're telling a trusted confidant in that moment. And next thing you know, the whole school knows, and they're all pointing fingers at the both of you. And sometimes it's like, oh, you kissed her? She's ugly. Or they're pointing at her and they're like, oh, you'll just kiss anybody, won't you? And it's like you both kind of eat shit for quite a while. And it's embarrassing. But in the work environment, if you got away with something, how about this? Just get away with it. Don't go tell somebody else how to get away with shit. Don't tell them that you got away with shit. Just get away with it. You know what I mean? Because the moment you open your mouth, it will come back around.
I've been knowing that about people. People don't keep secret. The same reason you're telling them is the same reason they're not going to keep a secret. Information wants to be free. Gossip is the most powerful force in the universe. I watch this on those reality shows all the time, like Survivor, where the person gets some secret or finds some advantage, and 99% of the time, they're not going to keep it secret. They're going to tell, oh, I got to tell at least one person. Oh, I got to share this with one person. And that fucks up their game almost every time. If they could just learn to keep their mouth shut about their advantages or their secrets and just use them to play the game. But there's something about humans that want to tell at least one other human your secret.
Hey, or just imagine this, like you're in the work environment and you and somebody that you are doing the same thing as are both kind of getting away with stuff, right? And maybe you're kind of doing it in sight of each other. But then one person gets hemmed up for it. And what's often the first thing they do? But so and so's doing this, and you're not talking to them. And next thing you know, they didn't just spread a rumor, they just ratted you out thinking that telling on you was going to help them out. Next thing you know, you're both fired.
Yeah, I just think, yeah, these are people that don't know how to play the game and don't know how to get away with shit, which is a lot of people.
I mean, I've very much learned when I got to go into that office and speak for myself. I do 100% that. I acknowledge my failures and say, I'll try to do better. No, there's no excuses. It's yeah, you own it because you're on camera doing it. Don't say anybody else's name. Don't say, oh, it's because of this or because of that, or you treat me like this. Nah, just sign the paper, go back to work. And hey, find another way to do your cheating or stop cheating. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't cheat at work, so I never had that issue. Like I mean, if I'm gonna get away with something, I'm gonna do it right, and they're never gonna know. But usually, I assume that employers have ways to be aware of what goes on in the workplace, so I don't even try. Plus, there's nothing I need to cheat about. If I'm doing my job, if I'm doing the job I'm there to do, what do I have to cheat with for over?
Well, it may not necessarily be like cheating quality or the expectation of the job itself, but let's just say time on the clock. You know, if you hustle and get to a point where you can take a longer break than somebody, but the break says, oh, breaks will be 15 minutes by policy. Well, if I make it so where my longer 20-25 minute break will go completely unnoticed because nobody's looking for me to catch up. But if I'm behind and I take a 20-minute break, they'll be looking for me after like 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even that, I assume the employer knows how long your breaks are. They're just not saying anything. Or if they're not watching at all, that it's not a priority and they don't care how long.
Right.
If they care enough about how long of a break you're taking, they're watching you. If they're not watching you, they probably don't care, which means 20 minutes is fine.
Yeah. And trust me, I've been doing things for a long time to know, hey, this is a moment where I can just relax and take some time to myself. Um, and continue on handling business. And there's other times where it was like, I'd really love a break right now, but this is no time for a break. There is no excuse to, I might even have to skip a break,
Yeah, I
work
usually
eight
don't, I
hours.
hate taking breaks. I'd rather just leave early than take a break in the middle of the day. I like to go in there, get in my flow, do my work, and then leave. I'm usually ready to go back to work before the 50 minutes is even over. There was one job I had. It was a student job in the library, and I had to shelve books. You had to go up to the different floors and shelve the books. So there was not really anybody watching you. You were kind of on your own. And one time I was tired. I wanted a nap. And I went in one of the study cubicles that the students can go in and study. And you could close a little door behind you. But they had the tops open. It was like a very high wall. And I was in those study cubicles. I put my card in the corner and I put my head on the desk for a little while. And a few minutes later, I heard my name called, and I looked up, and my boss was looking down over that wall into the study cubicle. She's like, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be shelving books." I got busted. I got caught. There's nothing I could say. She knew what I was doing. There was no way to lie my way out of it. I apologized. I told her I was tired, And I went and I got the carts and I started shelving the books again. She let me slide that one time. I never did it again at any job ever. Never tried it. But so the one time I tried it, I didn't get away with it. And I think that was all I needed to learn my lesson. Plus, I was really good at what I did. So I could shelve books really quickly. I could put away a lot of carts on one shift. So they pretty much, it was in all of our best interest to just let me slide.
Yeah, and some things even like that, you know, if a supervisor, a manager, or even an owner um, thinks that something like that is a fireable offense, chances are it's got more to do with the totality of your character
Yeah.
rather than that singular incident. You know.
Yeah. I think that's what did, like she knew that that wasn't my normal working habit and that I could be trusted to do the job and put the books away and that it was just a she was able to weigh it against the larger context of my job performance. Like the most that would have happened is I probably would have gotten written up because it was a student worker job, so it was financial aid. It was actually part of your financial aid with the college, so they couldn't really fire you from it. They would just reassign you somewhere else probably, but they had to eventually let you work somewhere and pay you because it was part of your school money.
Yeah.
We all have the same amount. That's no matter how rich you are, how poor, how attractive, how ugly, how healthy, how sick. We all have the same amount of seconds in our day as everybody else. That's one resource that we can't manipulate.
Yeah.
Oh, was that recent? Yeah. I've seen videos of Congress people sleeping before. I remember growing up, we had a substitute teacher. That was back when the subs were like your parents, one of your like classmates' moms would come in or their grandma or something. And that's exactly what she was. She was like the grandma of one of the school kids. And all she would do was pretty much babysit us while we did our work. And she would sleep all the time. We would wait for her head to hit the desk. And she'd sit there like this. She'd give us an assignment and we had to work quietly. And her eyes would close and her head would start nodding and it would get closer and closer to the desk. And we'd all watch and wait for her face to hit the desk, and then she'd wake up. Like almost every day she was in there, she did that same routine. And we just let her do it and laughed while she slept.
When I was in from middle and the beginning of high school, I went to a school for they called it a learning foundation. So, kids with ADHD and ADD, and
Oh,
oftentimes it was kids that got kicked out of public school entirely. Um,
was it part
so
of the
they,
special ed program or it was something separate?
it was a private institution.
Oh, okay.
But I went there because I was failing all of my classes come middle school because I wasn't doing my homework. And it weighed that much. And that's before they went to the block scheduling type of stuff. It was almost like semester type of learning. Um, and a very small place. They had like 125 students from K through 12. So that's how small it was.
Wow, as
And
far
they're
back as kindergarten?
from kindergarten through senior in high school. Yes,
Oh, that's
graduating
intense.
classes of like 5 people. Um, is how small it was. And but the books for your classes situation, not everybody got their own books. Each grade had a table with your English and your math and your history and stuff like that. And each day, each grade would have their assignments on the blackboard written out on what chapters and what to do. So you couldn't take these books home, and you would probably have one to maybe two teachers for even like three grades. And so there were no lectures or anything like that. And you know, you go get the book that's available and you knock out that assignment and you get the next book that's available. If you got to wait for a book, you might be able to share with somebody and both do it at the same time, but more or less um, you knock out basically what would be considered homework at a public school minus the lecture there at school.
So it's
And
just
when I
self-directed learning,
yeah,
and then the
and if
teachers
you
are there
had
to help you if you need extra assistance.
they were references. And if somebody had a common question, the teacher would say, hey, whoever's doing this assignment right now, this is the question. If you're having the same question or on the same subject with questions, let's all gather at this table and we'll do a lesson. But for the most part, common times I would just be knocking this stuff out and I'd be done, you know, at lunch or shortly after lunch. And, you know, um, there was no gym class, no PE at this school. Um, and so when I would get done, I would just be there at my little cubicle facing the wall. And rather than doodle or, we didn't have phones, nothing like that was,
Yeah.
that didn't even exist. You know what I mean? So if there was a window to stare out, I would stare out the window and daydream, or oftentimes I would just put my head down and go to sleep. And there was plenty of times where somebody would tap me on the shoulder, and I'd wake up in a panic, like, "Oh my God, am I in trouble?" And they'd be like, "No, it's time to go home."
Oh, so they would let you sleep if you finished all your stuff?
I mean, there was really nothing else for them to put me to do. I
Did
mean,
that
maybe
get you like got you your diploma? Like you made it through high school?
I did freshman and sophomore there. I did from the 6th to the 10th there. But then from the 11 and 12, I went back to public high school.
Oh, okay.
And I took that method with me. So I could completely shut out the the lecture as they're talking or follow along with the lecture while I was doing my homework. And so I was done with everything by the time school let out anyway. It really helped.
So
Like just get the work
so you
done.
did your
You
homework in
go to
class and then you
school.
didn't have anything to worry about at home. Yeah, that's what I did too. That's a good method.
And it didn't make me a genius, but I did leave public high school with a 3.8 GPA.
That's good, dude. That's
I, I felt like
that's
it.
yeah. Wow.
It really made me believe in that fact of
I think
if you can read um, faster than the teacher can talk about like a single sentence, you can make it to the homework and knock it out before the hour and a half class is done.
I never did homework. If my grades were lower, it's because I skipped the homework part. And but the times I did homework, it was always in class. If I couldn't finish it in class, there was no way I was doing it at home. So I did the same thing. Because I hardly ever paid attention to the teachers. I either read the book myself or I would bring other books to school and read, like just fantasy novels and shit, while the teacher was teaching. Because they were always going over the same stuff over and over and over. I already knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hated
And it
homework. I didn't see
wasn't
the
so
point of
much
it
that
at all.
but if you don't understand what's the the literature in the chapter that leads to the homework at the end of the chapter, well, then stop where you are and listen to the lecture for a minute, because maybe you just got one sentence ahead or one paragraph ahead of what they're talking about. And when they catch up and explain it and you still don't get it, you raise your hand, ask about what you don't get. They explain it specifically to you. And then it's like, okay, now on to the homework.
Most of the homework was just questions that you could flip back a few pages and find in the text. Like it wasn't even that hard.
Yeah. The keyword search, you know what I mean? It's almost like they're not allowed to ask you a question at the end of the chapter where the specific answer wasn't referenced in that
Yeah,
chapter.
that's how most of it was. If it wasn't a math problem or spelling homework, which I hated, writing spelling words over and over. I know how to spell the word. I don't have to write it 10 times. Um, then it was some kind of series of like information-based questions where you just flip back a few pages and pull them directly out of the chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. If the chapter states a specific date and person that was involved, an event that they're stating as fact, and then the question is, what was this person's involvement in, the Revolutionary War, you know, or whatever like that. And it's like, okay, you got a person and you got a specific event. It's like, who were they? And it's like, well, I'm gonna go search until I find their name in the chapter and
Yeah,
reread that paragraph.
yeah.
Answer, boom.
I remember some teachers would let you write just the answer, and some teachers would make you write the answer in a complete sentence, and it just depended on the teacher. So sometimes you could just write the name of the dude or the date, and sometimes you had to write so and so did this on this date, period.
Yeah, that's where I kind of got hemmed up a little bit in math, because the sheet they give you, the answer line is just enough for the answer. But then they say show your work and on an extra sheet of paper. So you
Hmm.
got your notebook paper, right? Well, my show your work was a chicken scratch sheet where I would do so much of it in my head till I got to a point where it's like, okay, now I have to take this and add it to that, and that would be it. And they'd be like, what is this? I'd be like, well, you said show your work. Well, that's what was going through my brain while I was figuring that out, rather than putting, question one and write out the entire equation and with the answer and then carry the answer over and everything's organized. Yeah, screw that. I was just like, hey, I need to know this. I can't in my brain take it to the next level, but I've made it this far. So I'll just scribble this here and scribble that there. And it was, it was not organized at all. But if the answer's right, how much can you fault me?
Yeah, same here. Sometimes, like, I did a lot of it in my head. I didn't know how to show it. I didn't know how to notate it on a paper, but I could explain what I was doing in my head. So the show your work part actually slowed me down. I found it less helpful than just letting me work out the problem on my own without having to explain how I did it. And I remember in geometry, you had to do proofs and you had to show every single step of your thinking in number. How did you get from this to this conclusion? And you couldn't leave out any single part of your thinking process. And that was probably the most challenging for me.
Yeah. Uh, the showing them how I got the correct answer when I don't necessarily have a calculator, in those times when no calculators are allowed and it's all just, you know, drawing out the entire equation. It's like, hey,
Hmm.
nobody got time for that.
I can explain it. I can verbally tell them, but I don't know how to. I didn't always know how to notate it in mathematical form. I didn't know how to write an equation to represent it every time and then to show what I changed or what I did differently. But I could verbally tell them what I was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said it wasn't Einstein in special ed or something. Some of his teachers thought he was retarded. He was a Spurg, I'm sure. Let's see.
Oh, I mean, imagine that you've got so much, like especially when you're in depth and you've have so much experience with, especially with math, that you're doing so much in your head, but you just get stuck on this one little thing. So you take it all the way from where you started, all of that becomes a blank. But in this one spot, that's where you start what you're writing down to try to get to the next step to figure out. But that's the only thing you write down. And it's like, well, wait a second. How'd you even get that far before? It's like, well, it just became natural because he spent so much time at on those lower steps, you know.
Yeah. That's why I love teaching special ed because there's teachers that know how to work with those kind of brains that are not linear. Um, so it looks like Einstein he had s- symptoms or traits or markers of what today would be classified as some of the neurodivergences. Some people think he had Asperger's. Some say ADHD. That's why I call it all neurodivergence because people are not always good at categorizing it. But he was really good in math. Like he was working, his math was at a level like many grades beyond his classmates. So that was not in dispute.
Wasn't there a big thing between Einstein and Oppenheimer? Like they were big chess players.
Probably all those nerds were.
And
If they
I
had video
know,
games, they would have been video. Let's see. They had been colleagues at the Institute for Advanced Study. Oh, they were from different generations, though. Um, let's see. Wikipedia has a whole article on their relationship.
because I was just me and a buddy that do play chess, and he's much better than I am because he studies the game. I just play the game. You know what I mean? Um, but I remember him telling me something about as far as the science of the atomic bomb and stuff like that was it, I think it had something to do with them being colleagues and somebody wanting to be part of it and the other not so much.
Here, I'll drop the link. Hey, dear, by the way, good to see you. Dear Fire. What's your Friday looking like? Do you have anything exciting going on?
Me, no. I'm just hanging out doing the usual. Got some Papa John's pizza to eat.
Oh, Papa. Yeah, I'll probably do one of those later. The grocery store version. There's a lot going on the Panelverse on Fridays usually.
Oh yeah, for sure. I hopefully I can mind my business because I got to work in the morning. But yeah, the different places to go and people to see and the different things that can suck you in. Um, I've definitely gone to bed at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and have to get up at 5:30. You know what I mean? That's when that's when the fun stops. It's not that you didn't have fun spending all the time and going down all the roads of conversation and fun that you can have with people. The fun stops when you got to wake up at 5:30 in the morning.
Um, yeah, sometimes. If you never stop me. I could, when I was in college, even when I was in the workforce, I could stay out and party till like 3 in the morning and get up 2 or 3 hours later and go to work or go to class and get through my day just fine. All my friends failed out of college. I had a 4.0 that semester. Um, Not laws. It's gonna take more than $10 to twist my arm on this one, but I'm not gonna rule it out. And thank you, by the way. Thank you very much. Here's my worry with it. Is that because I've heard good things about it. I really have. But is it one of those like narrator, like dialogue trees where you go around talking to different people and then you pick with which option? Actually, is it the final cut? Which one on stream am I looking for? Because all I see is one called the final cut. Is there an original Disco Elysium? Yep, the final cut. Okay. Oh Lord. Yikes, they want a lot for it. Maybe after I get my job, I'll be able to spring for it. Um, yeah, it's $40 right now. But I normally don't like I hate being forced into canned dialogue and then have the game depend on which dialogue response I choose. It that seems less strategy and gameplay to me. Okay. I tell you what, if you ever notice it on sale in the US, let me know and I'll consider. We still have our other game we haven't finished. In fact, we were gonna play chess. That was the next level. That chess puzzle. Um, but I've heard really good things about this game. Some people that I follow on YouTube and social media rank it as one of their favorites. You're a detective with a unique skill system. I love solving murders and a whole city block to carve your path across. Interrogate unforgettable characters, crack murders, or take bribes. Become a hero or an absolute disaster of a human being. It says all of the city's beautiful people are brought to life with full English voiceovers. Play the characters against each other, try to help them, or fall hopelessly in love. As each word is spoken to you with the appropriate accent and emotion. I'm skeptical that video game acting is going to carry the range that I can get from a cinematic masterpiece. Sounds like the Panelverse, though. Playing characters against each other or try to help them. Face the reality of your worldview as your political compass leads you down new paths. Unprecedented freedom of choice. Yeah, I mean, do they have like a free, like an introductory version that you can play for free? A trial version? Let me look. Let me see if I can find one. Because I could do that on stream. Um, I don't see a demo so far. Hmm. And oh, hey Bart, how are you? And also, hopefully, it's not one where I need to work a controller. As long as I can just use my mouse and point and click. Yeah, there was a game in the 2000s I played. It was set in New Orleans and it was a mystery. And you were like this hard-boiled detective and you went around New Orleans and you talked to all these different characters and it was like those story paths where depending on how the dialogue went it would take you to the next step. And it was fun. I liked it. It involved voodoo. You had to go to the voodoo museum and talk to some voodoo people, and it was kind of fun. So if it's anything like that, I'll probably enjoy it. Oh, nice, Bart. That sounds good. Especially the Italian part. That's my favorite cuisine. Italian food. In fact, I'm gonna go start getting ready for dinner myself here. We're gonna be watching David Lynch movies all weekend. We're gonna do The Straight Story later this evening, and go from there. Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm willing to try it. I tell you what, when it goes on sale, let me know. I could probably swing. How low do the sales go? $15, maybe 20. I don't think I could do more than 20. But if it hits, the $15 range, I'm willing to try it. Especially if it sounds like it's gonna be good streaming content too. So I could do a have like a separate game stream for that, and that'll give me a chance to stream more. Who knows? Maybe I'll get subs. The numbers keep fluctuating. Oh, hey Shelby. Um, do you have we do it in Discord. We have a movie channel where we can share movies. Um, I tell you what, I can send you the invite on Facebook. I'll do that right now. And we watch shows in there all the time. We have a couple of TV series going now, but I want to show a few David Lynch movies this weekend. Straight Story, Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire. Those are his. He did all of those in the 2000s. I think those are. Well, Straight Story was 99, but those are three of his best, of his most recent ones. And then we could even do things like Eraserhead, which is still a masterpiece. That was his first big movie. All right, I just shot you the invite to Discord. Oop.
Yeah, I can't say there's really too many um, writers or producers or anything like that I've ever followed their work. Um, I saw a few episodes. I guess it was Twin Peaks,
Oh yeah, that's one of his masterpieces to me.
but I I gotta tell you, like for for the type of stuff that I've always been into, just I guess it's a me thing.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I liked what I saw, but I couldn't go down the dive with it. You know what I mean?
I remember it hooked in a lot of people at the very beginning because it was one of those shows that everybody was watching and talking about the next day. Did you see that show? Did you see that show? But then it got too weird for a lot of people, and by the third episode or so, it had lost a lot of the initial audience. It pulled it. It became kind of a cult hit after that. But it was truly, it transformed television like nothing had been shown on television like that before. It was something you'd see in some weird art house cinema somewhere, but not on TV. Like ordinary people were not ever seeing this stuff in their day-to-day lives. And so
Yeah.
it created like a new norm of what was possible for network TV. And then yeah, it was an event, exactly. And cable, like Showtime and HBO, and the shows they started putting out was more in the style of what Twin Peaks pioneered. It also, the X-Files, which came shortly after. I remember there were two shows that came out shortly after Twin Peaks that were very much influenced by it. It was X-Files and Northern Exposure. And so a lot of the same fans that Twin Peaks pulled in shifted to those shows after Twin Peaks was over. Because it only ran for a season and a half. And then he did the movie.
Yeah, and it also takes me back to the days when these shows were released, like weekly, and
Yeah.
like you mentioned the X Files. Um, if you watch the X Files from day one all the way until it ended, uh, it could just be one of those like longest movies ever. Whereas if you just watch an episode, it might not make too much sense to you. Whereas, you have the other things, like your sitcoms, maybe like Seinfeld, where you could watch any episode. It doesn't matter what you know about it. You either find it funny or you don't. You know what I mean?
Oh, right, yeah. And that was one of the exciting things because, oh yeah, Shelby, did you see here? Let me post this video. It's a video from Angelo Badalamenti explaining how David Lynch, how he came up with the idea of Twin Peaks. What like it you just got to watch it. It's like 4 or 5 minutes, and he takes you through David Lynch trying to come up with the music behind Twin Peaks and how it encapsulated the concept of Twin Peaks in the music. Um, and yes, the music was definitely. I remember I got the soundtrack. I had the soundtrack. I had the Julie Cruz album. He did a concert video called Industrial Symphony Number One with Julie Cruz. I had that. I had the Laura Palmer's Secret Diary. I had all the merchandise that they were putting out at the time that went with it. Like it was more than just a TV show. It was really my first franchise that I got sucked into buying all the product that went along with just the show. But the fun thing was we'd watch it each week and the plot would advance a little bit more and then they would tease you about what was coming up next week. And then all week long, you and your friends were getting together and talking about this show and like, what's going to happen? What do you think? What's your theory? What does this mean? What does that mean? So it continued, like, it generated a whole fan culture between episodes that brought people together. And to this day, like, I remember some of my Twin Peaks friends and the conversations we used to have. And it also changed the way you saw your real life because you started to see your ordinary life through this surreal lens of this town of Twin Peaks and all the kooky people in it. So whenever something weird happened in your real life, you would be like, "Oh wow, that's like something out of Twin Peaks." And your real life started to take on this surreal, quirky quality to it. And your eyes started to notice those little things. It was transformational. Like there's no other way to describe what this show did for my generation.
And that was probably something that was like a precursor to, if you know, The Walking Dead. Eventually had The Talking Dead, which was like an after party TV show that was like a late night TV show with a host and would have guests. and they would sit and talk about like what just happened and what do we speculate and what's this teaser, and it was like a fun time talking about the show that you just watched, but it was a show in and of itself.
Yep. Yeah, it was just like that. And it was the first TV series that I had ever done. Because most of my TV before that was like sitcoms, like an episode of The Golden Girls every week, or Designing Women. I was really into that one. And the A Team, and it was like little one-offs, but you'd watch them and forget about them. They didn't stay with you all week, and you didn't like spend all week talking to your friends about them. And so now some movies you might, but nothing on television ever rose to that level until Twin Peaks came along, and all of a sudden it was TV was never like a big thing in my life. It was always something I did when there was nothing else to do. And Twin Peaks brought television to the center of my world. And I was glued in front of that thing every week. I was obsessing about it. I was wondering what was going to happen next. I was listening to all the music all week long in between the shows. And no TV show had ever done that to me before.
And maybe not a specific TV show that I could name, but when you talk about syndicated TV, I've always been one to have a hard time to wait a week for the next 30-minute show. You know what I mean? So when shows got older, I took more interest in them because you could have, a 2 or 3 hour block of just that show on this day, or maybe even like 2 or 3 days a week. I mean, that's honestly how I found Seinfeld. I didn't watch Seinfeld this week and then wait till next week to see Seinfeld again. When it was on syndication on, I think it was like TBS, I would sit there and watch Seinfeld for, 2, maybe even 3 hours. I don't remember how long it was on, but it was several episodes back to back
Oh,
to
when they
back
would
to
they
where you
do
could
like
just,
marathons of it before you could binge
not necessarily
watch.
a marathon. It's like an evening thing. So like
Oh,
me and my
they
wife,
would run several episodes together during
yeah,
as
yeah, yeah.
reruns.
And so, like me and my wife, even we would sit there and watch Seinfeld, 20-year-old episodes of Seinfeld, uh, as we're sitting there lazy and down, getting ready for bed. But on the other night, it would be The Family Guy, and I'm down to watch The Family Guy. I've always found it hilarious. She don't like cartoons, so it's like, oh no, now we're gonna watch something else tonight, and I don't even know if I'm interested in it at all.
Yeah, I can relate to the cartoon thing. Yeah, that's I found a lot of shows through syndication too.
But now with streaming, the way you look at things, if a show really got me and they released it one episode, per week, I would do my best to watch it. It would be on my own time rather than being on TV time where it's on and you have to watch it, otherwise you missed it. But after it's released, you can watch it anytime after that. But I do like things where, like, I watched the first Squid Game, a couple episodes at a time on my time, and then I've watched the second Squid Game. But they released the entire season, so if you just have nothing to do and you love it, you got a day off, you could just sit there, get the popcorn ready, snuggle up, and just go straight through it in one day.
Yeah, like even Netflix and those services started releasing all of their new series all at once instead of one episode at a time. Some shows still did one episode at a time, but a lot of them just released the whole series at once so people could binge. And we binge a lot in the Discord too. Bex and I have mini series going, and we'll sit there and go through 2 or 3 episodes at a time to get through the series. And it like the only thing I watch on network now really is Survivor, which puts out one episode a week. So it builds up over the course of the season. It builds up the suspense. Um, but I'd almost prefer if they just released all the survivors at once and I could watch it at my leisure instead of having to wait a week. That was kind of
Yeah.
the old way of watching TV, and the new way is to binge on your own time.
I think maybe something too has to do with like spoiler alerts. And
Yeah.
so if it's a game show, especially where the players are the ones voting, you know,
Yeah.
um, i- if somebody's like interested more in the drama and the you know, whoever it was that maybe they thought from the beginning might do it, um, it'll be widespread information who won for anybody that wanted to skip the actual challenges and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a good point because
I
if
mean,
they
some
released
people
those
do
all at
bet
once, it
on.
would be spoiled right away.
Like for me, something that I would watch on a weekly basis, it'd be more like Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune, where you know the winner may wind up on the next episode, or they may wind up on the Tournament of Champions. But there's really no point in watching, to me, a show like that unless you're actually going to watch the competition itself, because it's did you win the game or did you not win the game. But in like Road Rules, uh what was it, Road Rules versus Real World, when they did that on MTV,
Oh yeah, now it's called
or
the challenge. They still do those.
or or like you got the chance to save somebody, but then they shove them in a house and they have to live together and there's all that drama.
I used to watch some of those. Yeah, it ended up being all the same people after a while though. Just every season they would just keep reusing the same people because there was all this lore and storylines behind the different. It's kind of like the Panelverse. If you just kept making a series using the same panelists from the Panelverse because of all the drama that links the people together. I have to go pee really bad. Do you want to carry the show for a minute or so?
Yeah, I can interact with chat if they're going.
Okay, I'm gonna turn you over to Untrackable, and I will be right back.
I mean, I know I'm boring, but if anybody's got any hot topics or questions or speculations or you name it. The worst answer you'll get from me is I don't know. I mean, or I could sing you a song, but then I'd probably get booted.
And I'm back. Well, it might have slowed down. Maybe I might can call it a day.
Hey, that's cool too. I really was just coming to hang out. I saw you had Mike up earlier. I missed
Yeah, I
him,
think
but
he got no telling what he got pulled off into the bushes. Maybe. He said he'd be back, but it's been a while. I usually don't wait around for that.
no, I got you. And I know you've been keeping a pretty good structure for your time frames, I believe.
Me structure. Good. That's
Well,
good to
as
know.
far as the route, especially like, again, not that I necessarily needed to talk to Mike or anything like that, but more people, more minds, more opinions. Uh, it kind of makes for a more talkative situation, and
Yeah, I like
you
that.
know,
Maybe I'll use that as a slogan. What is it? More people, more minds, more opinions. I'm writing that down.
I
Where's
mean,
my
I think it
notebook?
makes sense.
Yeah, I know I like it.
It can be hectic when there's so many, but three is the magic number. But the more the merrier, and nobody wants to be the third wheel. So four is square, and
Oh, that sounds like math. More people.
but no, it's always fun. It's always nice to talk to you, Jeff.
Oh, you too. Very much. I appreciate you. I enjoy it when you stop by. So, well, I hope you find something interesting to do with the rest of your Friday, and we'll be in the Discord later watching movies for those that want to join us there. And I'll be out tomorrow. Joe and I think, are going to do our Nexus thing finally. We didn't do one Wednesday. And maybe he suggested we try it in ASMR too. We'll let our authentic selves out in ASMR for your delight and edification. So look for us tomorrow, the usual time, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
Well, enjoy your weekend, and I will see you again for sure. If nothing else, I'll drop by and give a like. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate it, and you too. So take care and stay warm. Y'all got the freeze coming. It's cold up here too, but not as cold as it sounds like all of you in the eastern part are headed for. In fact, what is it right now? I walked home from the it's only 42 here, so I have nothing to whine or complain about. I walked home from the Toastmasters last night, and it was fog. Like I could see feet in front of me. I couldn't even see the next block. The fog was so it was like Jack the Ripper fog. It was so thick and it was so cool. And a lot of people still had their Christmas lights up. There were houses and houses and houses of Christmas lights, and it would like color the fog with this ambient color. It's cool. I enjoyed my walk home. But also, I talked about this on the stream. Yesterday morning, we had a stabbing of a sixth grader that was walking to school. I still don't know if they survived or not. They were taken to the hospital, and it was some neighborhood. We don't know if they were homeless or drug or what. They put photos of them. Some guy, he had a hoodie, he had like a handkerchief over his face. You couldn't really see who it was, but they had drones flying around looking for him. So that happened like 2 blocks from my house that morning. And I was thinking about that when I was walking around that fog at night, that there's a stabber on the loose. So I hope that the kid survives, and I hope that they catch the guy. That's not anything that I ever had to worry about. Is my childhood was not that rough. I didn't enjoy high school, and there was a lot of social friction, but nothing like having to worry about getting stabbed walking to school. and we didn't have to have metal detectors um, at the entrance, like some of the schools I taught at in Vegas. I thought about it. I didn't have my headphones. I thought about pulling out my phone, but then I wasn't even sure what you would see. Right. The stabbing happened. You know, when I get my fries and I walk home by that park, that's where the stabbing happened, like a block from there. It was right by the McDonald's. It's thugs. It's the criminal element of society. They don't even need guns. They have knives. And if they didn't have knives, they'd probably just use their fist and go around punching people. But it's the part of society that's just antisocial. Who knows what the motive was? I don't know. Hopefully we'll find more details. But the city's taking it very seriously. The police chief was at some neighborhood meeting last night. The mayor came out and put out a statement. The police are making it a top priority. It's just crime's always been with us. Violence is always going to be a part of the human experience. I just hate that it's happening around me. And I don't know if somebody came at me with a knife, I wouldn't be able to do anything. I don't know what I would do. Run. That's it. I certainly can't fight a knife back, much less a gun. So I'm at the same mercy that all the other citizens are at. But yeah, they better not become between me and my fries. I will tell you that. So that's where I might get dangerous back. Or my chicken. Or anybody else I care about. So. All right. I'm going to end the stream and hope everybody has a good Friday night. We'll be in the Discord later watching some David Lynch. And see you tomorrow for me and Joe and the Nexus. Take care, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. See you later.